Hey, welcome back everybody. What you're about to see is a culmination of videos I shot from pretty much October 2021 up until today, March 3rd. It's a couple part series, something really cool that has happened in my life. So I just wanted to share all the details with you. So here it is. This video is going to be a little different. I've had a couple people say, hey, in terms of this new shop probability you got going on, you should record it. You should document your move and talk about how you started the business and all the reasons why you're moving. I'm going to start recording now. This is month 1 of escrow. We've just been in escrow a couple weeks. It's a 120-day escrow because it's an SBA deal. So we're looking at January to close, somewhere around there. So this is the first Saturday that I've begun to prep to do what I need to do to get the shop. It's a really long story, but the short version is the shop I'm in now, we've always been challenged with space. We're so busy that we just don't have room. I've only got 2 bays and 2 lifts indoors. And we're in a mountain community where it snows and stuff. So that really hurts us when the weather's bad. Freezing, snowing, raining. We do have 1 lift outside. And we have a small area where we can jack cars up. But if the car that you're jacking up has a problem, or if it's like a trailer that's dropped getting work, it blocks our street-to-street pull-through until that car's out of there. So we've been in this shop since '04, and the entire time space has been the problem. We're so busy now in the last 5 years that I dread the conversation that I'm going to have just before I unlock that door every morning. And the conversation that I'm going to have is with many people that did not plan to have a vehicle issue come to us from out of town. We're a resort town. People drive up from LA, San Diego, Orange County, Phoenix, Vegas, Palm Springs. Every single day I get somebody in there that's got an emergency and they need to get home, back to work, get their kids back to school, what have you. And I just don't have the space and I don't have the time. Now all the shops in Big Bear, we're all really busy. So it's really hard for me to tell those people no. This new shop, which we will own instead of rent, 3 times the space with 5 bays, 3 times the parking with its 3 complete lots, 3.5 lots, and just so much more room for us. And the exposure on that shop compared to ours, it just pops right off the boulevard to people. My shop is set back right now, the one we're in. People drive by, they can't find us. They often end up at the other place. And then they finally come back to me and go, sorry, I'm late. I was over there. I thought you were over there. I'm even getting calls now because that property is fully fenced and the gates are shut. The business has been closed for months. I'm getting calls every day. Hey, are you closed? Your gates are closed. Because they still think I'm over there after being in this spot since '04. So all those challenges will be solved if I just get this building. I've tried twice since 1999 to get this building. And I planted seeds in the former occupants. None of them came to fruition. They all forgot about it and they gave it to somebody else or sold it to somebody else. It's still a question mark. We're in escrow. The escrow people always tell you, oh yeah, it looks good, send this, send that. We've done all that and we're just waiting now to see if we qualify. In the meantime, I got to come up with 10%, which is about $60,000. Funny, ironically, if I hadn't built the pool, this would be no issue. If I hadn't done all this work we've been doing, it would be no issue. But my intent was to improve this property so that in equity, we gain that money back. And that's worked. Our house is more than doubled in value since we've done all this work. Maybe even tripled based on the market today. But that's not cash in hand. So I have a little bit of savings, but I got to come up with a chunk. Some of the details are sensitive. I don't want to put them out in public until this deal's over and I got the keys in hand. So that's why I'm starting now. I'll probably upload this thing in January or even further if it means we're moving. My lease on the property I'm in now is over in June. If we acquire this property at the close of escrow in January or February, it's going to take me a little while to move based on weather and stuff like that. My goal would be to move and still have a few months left on my old building lease so I could use that time to put a huge sign on the front saying we've moved. So I would be paying rent for that advertising. And then of course fulfilling the end of my lease, which is what I want to do. So what I'm doing today is step one. I'm getting this sucker fixed up and ready to go. We're going to sell that for some cash, so we can accomplish a dream I've had since 1999. This is where I park every morning. My shop is between those two dumpsters. This is the one we're trying to get around that corner, the 5-bay shop. So originally, the owner of this business was selling it to his employees, and he was moving out of state. He had some legal trouble and some other life issues. And his employees ran it for like 6 months, and then I came in one morning and it was gated and had all these for sale signs on it. And I got a hold of him and he said he wants 300 grand for the business, and then you get the building and the property, and the lease is 10 years at 2,700 a month. I said, I don't have 300, but let me know if you want some cash. I'll slide it to you if you don't sell your business. Well, he offered it to me for 240. So I went and I qualified for 240, and the day that I was going to come up and sign all the paperwork, I just had this epiphany. It's like, you know, what am I doing spending $250,000 on a business that's been closed for 2 months? Because the employees walked and they closed the business for 2 months. So he offered it for me for 240. I got qualified. I'm driving up the morning of and I go, this isn't right. So I backed out of the deal. I just thought, you know what, this thing ain't gonna sell, and then the property will be here. So the challenge is me getting first in line. So I did a Google search at 6 o'clock at night after I shut my doors at my shop, and I found the owner of the property. He's 92 years old, and he lives in Ventura. I told him what I could offer him: security. I've been around for a long time up here. I have a successful business. I'm only a few doors down. I've tried to get this building twice before. I said, I'll sign your lease tomorrow. I'll take it. And he just basically replied and said he wants to sell it. And that's where we're at. So we made a deal. I submitted an offer. He accepted it, and he gave the owner of this business, who's behind months in back rent, quote unquote, till the 1st of November to get out, and then he won't owe any back rent. So I did this guy a favor. This guy's bitter at me and he's mad. He thinks somehow I swindled him, but all I did was try to do something smart. So this is him getting out of here on the 22nd of October, which coincidentally is 33 years to the day that I moved to Big Bear in 1988, October 22nd.
Race, but it was pretty early on. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a second or third race for sure. But, as a professional athlete doing motocross, you know, I think it's more common in Costa Rica being a soccer player. Costa Rica, it's a small country, and you know we have family-oriented country, and go to school. You know, I went to school all the way from.
They're right there at the edge of the thing, and the burn comes up on them. And they were throwing beer bottles and stuff at them, and they were pissed. I can't remember what happened there. That was a wild. Anyway, I've been down there quite a bit, and one thing it feels like is everybody's just cruising. There's not a lot of. I don't mean that in a negative way. I almost got.
More Californians, and I think other.
Yeah, agreed. But I think people living in homemade houses and shacks. Yeah. You don't see a lot. There's not a lot of just middle class communities.
All right, so what I got going on here is getting this thing ready to sell. I pulled this carburetor off, took it all apart, cleaned out all the ports, put it all back together. I re-jetted it a little bit richer. I pulled the needle up a hair. I didn't have any other jets for it, but I pulled the needle up one little clip because it's always been starving for fuel. Hopefully that helps. And then right now what I'm doing is draining the gas because this gas is bad, of course, California gas. And then the last time we went to the dunes in this thing, my kid's muffler fell off. So I'm gonna take off the exhaust right now. That's got to come apart before it'll come out, and then I'm installing this brand new big gun exhaust for whoever buys this thing. It's gonna be trick, man. Some kid's gonna love this thing, but I want to get it dialed. What I like doing is when I'm selling something, I like when people walk up and it's crystal clean and they push the button, it fires right up, and it's like, yeah, we want this. And that's how you get top dollar. All right, so I got that new pipe on there. That thing looks sweet. So we're just gonna finish draining the gas, put real gas in it, and put the battery in that I've had on the battery tender since last April. And it's one of these over here. So we'll hook that up, see if she fires. I'm such a moron. I kept, fuel kept draining out of the overflow, and I'm thinking, man, the floats are stuck. So I took the whole thing back apart again. Come to find out, I left the drain open on the bottom of the carb when I stored it. So I just closed the drain, everything's fine. I just put the battery in. We got her all done. Let's see how she does with starting. So here we go. Turn the key. Whoa! So that's a clean carburetor. I re-jetted it because it was a little lean before. Now I don't have the airbox on, so it's running a little wonky, but fires right up. Look at that. This thing's sweet. I got to get some money for this thing. That is the best that thing has ever started since we've owned it. So cleaning that carburetor, some of those jets were plugged in there. The ports on the side of the jets were plugged, which messes up the mixture and everything. I think raising the needle and then having an open air box, thing fired right up. So I'm gonna put the air box back together and take the paddles off, get it all cleaned up, and she'll be ready to go. And this will be the first sacrifice to try to gain this property. Wow, this thing runs really good, man, with that pipe on it. Kind of wish I would have done that sooner. It's kind of giving me the idea. I mean, I've had all bikes, right? I've had quads, dirt bikes, 2-stroke, 4-stroke, 3-wheelers, everything. And I've done all the pipes and the jetting and the ignition, electronic ignition boxes, the tuning. I've done all that stuff. I had a Raptor 700 once that I had all that stuff on. Thing was so fast. And I kind of gotten away from all the aftermarket, just having fun with my kid. But putting this pipe back on here makes me excited. Maybe we'll do something for our Suzukis. All right, well, I put the quad online yesterday at 7 o'clock at night. It's 11 o'clock the next morning and it's gone. All right, so the first cash cushion item checked off the list. All right, well, that's my oldest boy and his wife. And what's really cool is they're also in Escrow on a venture that is going to be a big life-changing experiment as well. As you know, he's been a firefighter paramedic for a long time, and he works at one of the gnarliest places. He works at the top of what's called the Cajon Pass most of the time. And if you're from California, you know that freeway, it's gnarly. He sees the gnarliest wrecks. And he's been saying for like a year how he is kind of over picking up dead bodies, was the term, scraping up dead bodies. So they've threw all their eggs into a basket, and they tossed the dice on buying a triplex in Washington. And when that escrow closes, they're moving to Washington. They'll live in one of the triplexes, and they're going to Airbnb the other two while he still works here as a paramedic, 4 on, 8 off. So he'll fly commute back and forth, which a lot of firefighters do. I was surprised to hear that. So what are they doing now in my Razor, my baby? They've never been out in a Razor together. My son's driven it. I've driven both of them in it. But they're coming down to the end of like a month-and-a-half escrow that's been kind of stressful, lots of twists and turns, and they need to get out and just have a good time. So they're here, they're home, both home today, and I'm working on the stuff to get ready too for our stuff. And I said, just take that thing, go have some fun. And he's lived in the high desert since '06. He knows Lucerne very well. So they're gonna head out to the lake beds way down there, goof around, maybe go out to dinner. And I'll update you guys on those, how it's going. They want to start compiling real estate, and he wants to eventually step away from EMS and just do real estate stuff. So it's one of their dreams that's about to come true. They've done a lot of research for a year. They're not just jumping into something they don't know anything about. They've listened to podcasts, talked to people, follow people on social media that do this for a living. And he knew when I was questioning him about his decision, man, he knew every answer down to occupancy rates, rental rates, all these things. And so, man, I wish them the absolute best of luck. And it's kind of interesting to me. I want to watch and see how it goes, because at one point I may have some disposable cash to do something with. So we'll see how it goes. So they're going to go out and have a great time. All right, there's a chunk of cash right there. It's Wednesday, the 15th of November. And today is the day that I'm supposed to wire the good faith deposit into escrow on this building that we are trying to purchase. My shop right here. This is the back of my shop right here, where that motorhome's coming out. And we've got, there's a house here, a house here, and then there's an auto parts store right here. So 3 doors down, that's my building. And that's on the other side by the highway right there. So we've been scraping and saving. You saw I sold my kid's quad. And I've got a kickback check right here that I get from an auto parts place. And we're gonna go put this money into escrow. I still don't know, right? I still don't know if I'm gonna get approved or what. You know, the guy that's doing my SBA loan seems to think everything's gonna be fine. We'll see how it goes. So the whole reason why I even started my own shop, which my original intention was to do only tires, no auto repair, was just as a way to make a living. I worked at a tire shop that my brother-in-law had purchased, and he grew that business to become very large. And during the time I was there, I started out plugging tires for $5 an hour. That was it. That's what I did. Tire plugs, tire patches, changing tires on the machine. And after 3 or 4 years, he kind of moved me into the office because I began to know all the customers. I was the only English-speaking tire guy that worked for him, so customers always talked to me. So after 3 or 4 years, he moved me into the office where I could help him run the now busier shop for him. And so I just began to build relationships with all these people. And I ended up staying there for 9 years. That owner sold it to a new owner. And the new owner came in, and I had actually left and went to work somewhere else. And the new owner called me and said, hey, the former owner told me you know how to run this place. Because the new owner was kind of retiring, and he just wanted to buy a business to have some income. So he offered me a job, and he made a bunch of promises to me about raises and health insurance and all these things. And here I was. I had 2 kids at the time, and I was just trying to feed them, and I didn't want my wife working. I didn't want anybody else raising our kids. So she was at home. So I went back to work for the new owner. And 2 years in, just to keep the story short, I was done. Because he didn't come through with any of the promises. no health insurance. I didn't get any raises. I had to confront him one time and I go, look, my checks are $380 and the tire guys are $350 and I'm selling you $1 million worth of product and services, and I think I'm worth more. You know, if I were to travel down into the city, I could have got $20 an hour, and here I'm working for like $8 an hour. So he devised a bonus schedule that if we reached certain goals, I'd get up to $800 bonus a month. And he made the goalposts super far away, and we did reach it here and there, but it was never consistent. I couldn't count on it, and I just got frustrated. And then there were things happening with customers that I didn't agree with based on my relationship with them and their experience in the past. So I'd have a day off, and I'd come back to work, and a customer would come in and say, I was here yesterday when you weren't here, and this happened to me. So I was getting mad. So out of frustration, I decided I'm just going to leave. I know all these customers. I got 10 years of customers. I'm leaving, and I'm going to do just tires. I hated auto repair at the time because you're always giving your customer bad news. So during that time, we had a dealership up here. We had a car dealership. It was a Dodge dealership. And they also sold Jeeps, Chryslers, and they were going out of business. Well, one of the service writers was actually a customer of mine. And he called me and said, hey, we're going out of business, and I heard you're thinking about starting a shop. We have like 400 good used tires that you can just come and get because we need to get rid of them. So in my lifted Toyota truck, after work, I began hauling tires to my house, and I filled up my garage. And then a couple weeks later, something happened that had never happened. I saw an ad in our local paper here called the Super Shopper, and it was for a complete tire shop for $500. And what it was a machine, an old center post machine, a bead blaster, a tire stud gun, a bubble balancer, hubcap pullers, bunch of wheel weights, and basically everything you needed with a compressor, just no floor jack. So me and one of my best friends at the time, who's now the DEA agent, who we lit on fire, who you saw in a video a while back, we went over and we moved all that stuff in my garage. And I hadn't done tires in like 5 years because I was working in the office. And I'm still working at the other shop, and I'm collecting all this stuff. So one weekend, I'm in my garage and I'm practicing. I'm mounting tires on my Toyota truck just to see if I remember how to do it, because when I pull the trigger, it's going to be all me, right? So my neighbor now comes to work to get a couple tires, right? And I had just given my 30-day notice. We're 3 days into my 30-day notice. So my neighbor, who knows now that I'm starting a shop, just happens to come in, and I sell her some tires. We put her car on the lift. She had a Subaru. We're doing 2 front tires, 225 60/16. And she's talking to me in the parking lot. And so I go, okay, they'll get you all done. And I ran back in to answer the phone. Well, my boss walks out and starts talking to her. And he comes back in, and we get her taken care of. She pays and she leaves. And now I'm all alone with my boss. And he says, you know what? You're fired. And I said, what for? And he said, because you're trying to steal my customer out there. I go, what are you talking about? And he said, yeah, she just told me that you told her you're starting a shop. That she was saying, isn't it wonderful how Gino's finally going to have his own shop after 10 years? And I explained to him what happened, but he didn't believe me. He started to get a little paranoid. And I explained, hey, look, she's on your lift getting tires. Why would I be trying to steal her? I'm selling her tires right now. It's proving my point. Either way, I left. And that was it, right then and there. 3 days into my 30-day notice. So I start gathering all my belongings from the office of where I'd been for 10 years. I was telling him, if I fail, I'll come back and work, that'd be great. I don't want to burn a bridge. And then he says one thing to me that bothered me. He says, look, if you go after my big accounts, I'm going to bury you. Now, I don't know what that meant. I know I'm Italian, he's Italian. I think I know what it meant in an Italian language. I'm going to bury you, right? I didn't know it was a business term. Where you drop your prices so drastically that you bury your competition and you bleed him out of business. And I said, after you saying that, I'm never coming back. And I don't know what you expect. I'm up to bat. I've got a wife. I've got 2 kids. I've been here for 2 years. You haven't fulfilled any of your promises. I'm frustrated. And I said, that's why I'm leaving. I want to go do it and I want to succeed. And I'm going to try to hit a home run when I'm up to bat. I'm not going to bunt. I'm going for it. I'm going for everything. I'm going for all the big customers. You know, DWP, Snow Summit Ski Resort, Bear Valley Electric, Southwest Gas, Big Bear Taxi Company. I'm going for all those guys. I don't know what you think I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. And so I packed everything and I left. Okay, so as I was just telling you guys about why I left my last tire job, my kid just sent me a text, and here's what it says. And so their escrow's closing on their triplex in Washington, so his dream is also coming true. Super cool. So my realtor just called and said, hey, I got the keys, come over and look at this place. And I haven't looked inside this place. I figure if I'm buying it, I should look inside of it. This is some of the crap that was left. So we're gonna go check it out. A little bit of crap for us to get rid of. This makes our oil shed look like a sushi bar. This place is massive compared to what we're used to. All right, so it's 5 o'clock on the end of the day on Monday. And we just went ahead and went over there and took a look at the building and the property. Again, still in escrow. Still not for sure if it's a done deal. But my realtor let us in over there so we could just check the place out, and this guy left it a wreck. It has truckload after truckload of garbage in there, so they're gonna get that taken care of. I'm gonna go back during the day tomorrow, during the daylight, because it's dark. I couldn't see a bunch. Check the place out, take a bunch of pictures, show you guys. So, all right, good morning, everybody. It's the 16th, and my realtor let me back in here during the day so I can see this place. The office is definitely a lot smaller than what we're used to here, but I can make this work. We can get rid of this big massive thing, push the counter back, create more of a waiting space for people here. Well, this dude left this place a wreck. He was supposed to be out of here by the 1st, and then they gave him till the 10th, and the deal was he wouldn't owe any back rent if he got everything out of here. There's no way. I mean, this whole upper mezzanine is just full of boxes of garbage, and so my realtor said he's just going to get it taken care of. I offered to clean it up, but this is just way too much stuff. I thought he had maybe a couple things here, but once we're done, though, this place is going to be awesome. So let's see where we're at here. So I'm just finishing up over here, doing like a second walkthrough. And we pulled some stuff off to the side and threw it in the corner, stuff that we think is worth salvaging. But I'm just completely amazed at the size of this lot. Man, if this goes through, this will just be the best thing for us. All right, it's the 17th of November, and on a Wednesday, and I'm just headed down to do a big dump here, and I noticed that there's guys over at the shop cleaning up. So my realtor got somebody on it in one day. So I just got an email from the guy that's handling the loan. I guess he works with the SBA, and I got what's called a letter of intent. So that's a letter of intent to fund. And they want me to make another deposit of $8,700 to cover some fees, like an EPA thing, an EPA study, an appraisal, some stuff, all that I thought the seller was paying for. So I'm gonna iron that out tomorrow. But it's, I guess things are on the right track. I'm a tire guy, I don't understand how this works, but the letter says they intend to fund, as long as everything is what it is what we say it is, and the appraisal comes through, and the EPA study comes through, so that's very exciting. I'm gonna go dump these tires, go home and sit in the spa. It's been said that there's no such thing as a normal pregnancy. And after having 4 kids, after my wife having 4 kids, I thoroughly understand that saying. there's always going to be these glitches, you know, these hiccups, these little cautionary things that happen that raise your blood pressure, and then you get through them, and then of course everything always has worked out, at least in our case. And going into this deal with this, buying this building, I knew there was going to be some of these hiccups, just like a pregnancy. Every house we've ever purchased, every large decision we've ever made, really, there's always been hiccups, you know, and you get through them. So this deal has gone really smooth so far, but there's been a hiccup. When we initially submitted an offer, we told our SBA guy we needed to do the deal at 10% down, and he agreed. So he's been working on this deal for a month, and they submitted a letter of intent to fund yesterday to me. They emailed it to me. It'll be 18% down. So we're looking at $107,000 down payment. That's just not gonna, that's impossible. It's not gonna happen. The 10% down was gonna be a $60,000 down payment. And we have about half of that already. And then I was gonna sell some stuff. I was gonna sell my Razor, the camper. I already sold my kid's quad. And we were gonna be able to meet that within the 3 months. No problem at all. So I received that email yesterday, and I just took a deep breath and drove home, realizing this deal is undoable at these terms. And I'm not going to put myself under that kind of pressure to scramble in hard money loan, cash, borrow, whatever, to get the extra $47,000 to get a down payment by January. So, in my opinion, this deal's done. It's over. Because if those are the only terms available, it's not going to happen. Now, I have heard through the grapevine, my neighboring business is purchasing the same landowner's lot as well for his business. And he told me the other day, because I was telling him, look, it's not a done deal. I don't have the keys, because we're talking about doing some extra business together as soon as I move. And he said, hey, it's a done deal. I said, what do you mean it's a done deal? He said, you're in there. He doesn't want anybody else in there. He likes you, because I spoke to the owner myself. And he offered up a suggestion. He said, even if you got to rent the thing for a year or two, he's still going to sell it to you. So I'm getting that from the tenant of this property owner's other building, who I said before is currently trying to buy that as well. And he's getting that from the realtor of the landowner of the building that I'm trying to sell. So it looks like there's still some negotiating there. I would even rent the thing starting right now and leave it empty. I already put $10,000 into escrow, right? So there's 3 months right there if we do $2,700 a month or $3,000 a month or whatever we decide. And I'm going to call my realtor and I'm going to tell him it's not going to work unless we do something different. Either way, the deal is not done now. So it's the first hiccup in this deal. We have other potential hiccups too. We have an EPA study, we have an appraisal, we have all these other things that we got to get through. And as soon as I finish this video right here, as soon as I hit the stop recording button, I'm calling my realtor, who has a copy of the letter I got yesterday, and he's like, hey, call me as soon as you can. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll keep you updated. All right, so I just got off the phone, about 20-minute phone call. And I basically told him what my terms were and where I felt comfortable. And he said, we actually don't need to do that because the original loan, the original offer, the original purchase offer, he structured the seller into it paying for the EPA and the appraisal. And so they're going to pay for that, which frees up a little more money for me to save up for down. And as far as the 16 or 18%, he says, don't worry about it. We're going to make this deal work. And he cited me all these little side plans we could do. And he said, give me a day to work on this, but we're not going to let this building go, and I don't want you to worry about it. So I've used this guy since the 90s, and he's got the best poker face on earth for real estate. And he knows the business really well, and so I trust him with it, and I'll update you. I feel a lot better after talking to him, and I know that's part of his job. So that's it for today, and I'll update you on the next turn. All right, well, it's November 19th, and I'm over here again because my realtor said, hey, they've done a ton of cleanup. If you want to go take a look at it. Now, they have done a bunch, but this place is still a complete disaster. So yeah, they cleared out a bunch up here, but there's just so much garbage. I'm going to use this whole upper mezzanine thing for tire storage. And in here, we're going to make this a break room. We'll make it nice and neat, put a TV in here. Myself, the guys have a place to go. Still a lot left to do. We'll update you on the next one. How long did it take you guys to load this thing?
4 hours from the unit, and then like another 2 here.
Wow. So it's the night before these guys are bugging out to do their Airbnb dream. And I'm standing, well, there's a top of a refrigerator. That's how high I am. I'm standing on top of stuff. So we're trying to fill in this void here so they can just make one trip with this massive Penske truck. So we're going to give it a try. Holy mackerel, that's a lot of stuff. What time do you guys start loading? 8?
7?
8. It was 8:30.
And it's 9 now.
Okay, yeah.
12 hours.
It's 9 now, 12 hours. Or 13. He's all, go with it. That is full, bro. So just a couple more things and that's it. Well, it's a beautiful morning and the sun just popping up over the mountains there. It's November 20th and my son and our daughter-in-law are making the big move. We're excited to see how it goes, but we're sad to see them go. They've been living with us for like 4 months and we're gonna head up there between Christmas and New Year's to see them in their new place, but they're bugging out right now to make the 17-hour trip up to Washington. Huh, buddy?
Yeah.
Excited for him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sad though, huh? Lots of tears this morning. All right. Good morning, everybody. It is November 23rd, a couple days before Thanksgiving, and I just got off the phone with my realtor. I'm sitting here in my parking lot, and a little snag has come up. Anytime you buy a property, especially a commercial property, you want to do a survey. So you're starting from scratch. So when you go to sell it or something happens a few years later, you have all your lines marked, you know where everything is, and you're legit. Well, if you look at this picture, this fence line cuts back inside of what would be my property. It's been that way since the 70s when one owner owned the shop and the auto parts store. Shop's on the left, auto parts store's on the right. He moved that fence to give himself access to the boulevard from the back of his property. Now you can go out the back of that property simply. I see their drivers do it every day. Of course, we're only a few doors down. I even walk the back street to go to that place so I don't have to walk on the main boulevard. So getting access is very easy, and putting that fence back where it goes wouldn't be a big deal. But during our negotiations, when we addressed this issue, the property owner said, we're not moving the fence because the occupant in the auto parts place on the right has been there for 15 years. And I don't care if Gino likes it or not. We're not moving that fence. If he wants to buy the property, it stays. Well, we have a contract and I could push the issue and I could say, sorry, this is what we're doing. But I also am huge. I'm very huge on getting along with your neighbors. Anytime we move into a neighborhood, as a family, the next holiday, we always go to every door and we bring cookies or something, and we try to let our neighbors know the new people are cool. And it's done wonders for us. It's paved the way for communication and issue resolution, things like that. Our whole lives we've done that. Doesn't work all the time, but you got to try. So I'm willing to give this part of the property up, and I'm willing to put in an easement there. But I feel like if they're willing to stand firm on not budging, then they need to pay for that. So we're going to find out what they're going to pay for me to allow them to have that driveway. And I don't even care about the money. To me, I care about the principle. Why do you expect to have something for free that's not even yours? I would never say to somebody, hey, I want this, and it's not even mine. I wouldn't. So I'm going to ask them to pay for it, and we're going to find out how much. So we'll update you when we get the results of that next decision. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody.